In my jammies. It is literally 10 o'clock, and that's kind of early for me around here. um, just because the baby's sleep. My son actually is still the holidays, so we got some family that's in town. So I'm taking off this beautiful ring that my fiance has bought me for the third time. Okay. Only reason why I'm doing this before I even got myself together is because sometimes, and ignore that, we still ain't put the fan. But sometimes when God puts something on your heart, you just do it. And I realized that I have really been disobedient, and I've been just be behind because I'm so worried about how I look and what's going on. Not that I even wear makeup or anything, but just always worried about, like, oh, you can't do it in the kitchen. You got a wire hanging from the ceiling. You can't be in your jammies. That's ratchet. But my sister got me these jammies for Christmas. So, but yeah, let's talk about this. Let's get this off the chest, okay? So, I know a lot of y'all was like, what? A third ring? Yes, my third engagement ring. Now, the first one I lost. It was a little too big, and we didn't get the little spacer things that go on your finger. I didn't get that in time. Before you know it, it was gone. But let me tell you this. He asked me the other day, he said, did you really lose that ring, or did you sell it? Because we was in a bad time, okay? I honestly lost that ring. But before I had lost it, I was at my desk and I was praying, Lord, if this man is for me, if this relationship we have right now is going to make it and this is for us, give me the sign. I mean, if not, give me the sign. When I left that office, that ring was on my finger. When I came back, my ring was gone, and I had no idea. I even ran back to where I was at and prayed, knowing good and well that that ring, I'm sure somebody picked up and was like, ooh, yeah, like I just hit the jackpot. But I was just praying, like, I even prayed on the way there, Lord, I get what you're saying, because I'm one of those people that will ask for a sign and ignore the sign. So I'm definitely getting better at that. And now I ask for specific signs so I don't question it. But yeah, I'm rushing there, and I go to see if that ring is there, right? And the whole way there, I'm like, I get that sign, Lord, but if this is definite, if this is really you, don't let me find this ring. I did not find it. I searched my car, I searched my desk, I searched the company's vehicle, and I retraced my steps throughout my whole route that day. Could not find that ring. So at the time, me not being as strong as a Christian that I am now, without the prayer, without the fasting, without all that stuff, I just believed in God, and I thought that the connection that I had, I thought that the connection that I had at that time was me talking to God. But what I realized is that if you don't have an actual relationship, you have not accepted him, Jesus, Lord Jesus, like in your heart, anything like that, that line could get tapped real quick and easy. So this whole time, every time we had an altercation, I go praying. I say quote unquote praying because at the time I wasn't really sure. Well, happy birthday. I wasn't really sure if that, I wasn't really sure what type of connection I had, but I knew that I believed in God, and I was pretty much born into Christianity, if that makes sense. So I just thought that's what it was. Yeah, everybody said happy birthday. And of course it's a lie. So at some point it's going to, at some point it's going to be comments below. So when this get uploaded or whatever, I don't know how YouTube do its thing, because y'all know I really don't be on, I don't know. But if you come across this video, even if it's 3 days, I don't care if it's a year later, say happy birthday. But yeah, I got stuck in this cycle of praying and looking out for certain signs and not even knowing that those weren't really signs from God. That was the devil on the line that was really talking. You know how like AI can do a voiceover or do somebody else's voice? That's how I felt like it was. So boom, long story short, I end up leaving this guy. And then I still had the second ring because he bought me a second ring. I end up leaving this guy. Hey, thank you for the love. I end up giving him the ring back after us going through our fights and stuff like that. And he's like, well, give me the ring back. I'm like, at first I was going to hold on to it because the greed in me, I think. And I'm not going to lie. I wanted to keep that ring because at some point, if things got really tough as a single mom, I would have something to be able to get us through. So I let that go and say, you know what? I'm going to let you have it. I gave him the ring and we broke up for a while. In between that time, yes, I'm not going to lie, I actually started dating somebody else. And this person I thought was my savior. Like, he was going to come through because we had our history. And we had reasons why it didn't work. And it wasn't like, oh, you was this and this and that. But honestly, looking back, yes, it was. But at that time, it didn't seem like it was that bad of a deal while we broke up. We just wasn't strong enough to make it work. We were just worried about what was going on outside, and we just never really thugged it out. That's the mindset I had at the time. So I decided to try this again with this guy, all while I still had that ring and still getting, going through it with my fiance, my technically ex-fiance at that time. And finally I said, okay, I'm choosing, and I chose the guy, and I did not go back to my fiance. Now, all while I was with this guy, something kept tugging at my heart like, no. So I started praying. Still not all the way into the Lord. Still not all the way there. Thank you. God is good. Yes, Jesus got in better than yes. Thank you. Y'all see, I'm just kind of ignoring that. Because when you get in, when you really let him in, you don't let stuff like that bother you as much. Because you got to actually read the Bible. Like, you really have to read it to start understanding. But anyway, I let this guy pretty much, okay, spiritual wise, if you're not there, everything is spiritual, okay? Spiritual wise, I allowed the enemy to get in, infiltrate what we had going on. The enemy on his team and my team were fighting. It actually broke us up. Even though we had something good, it broke us up, right? I end up getting with the other guy who was my ex before him. And he was like, fool's gold. He was like, the enemy was like, okay, yeah, now to get her back to where she was and go even further, we're going to bring him back in the mix. And that's what happened. After a while, I decided to let Jesus in completely. I had a couple situations where, and it's a different story, but a couple situations where he didn't look like himself sometimes. I felt something off. It was something stomping around our house, my house. It was something wrong. And so I started praying more. And then when I finally broke up with him, I reached out to my fiance. I reached out, and it wasn't because I was lonely. It's because now I seen it in a different light. I seen that it wasn't him. It was the Spirit working in him. It wasn't me. It was the Spirit working on us. So if we can let God lead our relationship, then we should be good. Because besides all the bickering stuff, we were good. Like, to the point to where girl just said yesterday, y'all starting to look alike. Like, we were good. And my son, that's his dad. Like, we had a family. And I feel like the enemy is out to destroy families harder than ever right now. And of course, I'm saying if there's abuse and things, of course, you don't have to stay. But if there's no physical, no actual like abuse like happening in your way of abuse, like don't just give up just because you aggravate it every day. Don't just give up because like all of a sudden you realize you don't like the way he eat. And now y'all like all that extra stuff. It's not really. It's nothing but the devil. I'm telling you that now. So to fast forward that, by the time we end up start talking again, he wasn't working the whole time because depression hit him hard, and he gave my ring that I gave back to him, which is my second ring, to his sister to hold. And times got rough, and he actually ended up selling that ring to make it through. Right. Well, we got back together in July. He got baptized, and I got saved the same day. I'm about to get baptized. And we vowed that we was going to allow God to lead us this time, even when things get rough. And when I say things still get rough, but it's spiritually. Like, literally, things can happen Hey, y'all. Hey. But things can happen, and all I do is go and pray on it, and I get this sense of relief. And I kid you not, he calms down. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. But this is how I knew, y'all. This is how I knew that I was supposed to come back here and make my family work, right? So, like I said, I had some situations where I was seeing something iffy about the other guy, right? No matter what commitments or whatever we made throughout the years, like we weren't gonna let like all this type stuff. He was one of those people where he was like, we down, like no, if one of us get married, the other one coming to the wedding, like like that type of situation. And when I started talking to my fiance again, I cried in the shower and I just gave myself up. I said, Lord, I'm tired of effing up my life. I need you to just guide me and lead me. And I understand going back and forth is not it. So if it's definitely not it, and I'm just supposed to spend quiet time with you, nobody involved, let that be, and I'm okay with that. However, I would love to have my family back. I would love to make that work in the right way, because he was starting to go on, little did I know he was going on a path of being lost, like different girls, stuff like that. So it went, that's not when I came back, because I had no idea he was talking to other girls. I didn't know. We hadn't talked. When I'm with somebody, I chop the other one off for the most part. And I say for the most part because clearly the other guy was able to get in my head throughout the 5 years. Every now and then he would make himself relevant. That's a soul tie, people. That is a soul tie, and you need to break it. But yeah, I asked for God for a specific sign. Now we have frogs or toads, right? And you know the difference. The way the hands and everything look different, correct? So what I thought was out here all the time were frogs, they were actually toads, right? And the year before, well, last year, they were all on our back deck. And they was the eggs and stuff like that. Like, I thought I was about to have some type of frog army happening on my back porch. It was crazy. And this year they wasn't there. And I'm like, okay, they all down at my mom's house because she lived closer to the woods. And I'm like, okay, I got one, Lord. Specifically, if I'm supposed to have my family back and we're actually supposed to make this work, and what you gave me was like, that was you talking to me saying, no, you supposed to be with him and make that family work. That was nothing but the enemy. Then I want a frog to be at my door. Now, I was not specific on what door, okay? So the next day after I dropped my son off, let my son spend time with him, I came back home, came through the back porch, and there was a frog. Well, at the time I thought it was a frog. It was really a toad. There's this amphibian. That's what they are? There's one. And I'm like, Lord, see? I sat at the door. So that was my first time recognizing when the enemy, because it's spiritual. Anything you say and anything like that is all out there. So everybody's getting it. Everybody's getting this memo. So that was my first time stepping in the way and saying, no, this is what I said. And I also said, don't let anything be able to actually create a counterfeit, because I'm tired of counterfeits. Well, after a week or so of us being together and stuff like that, just kind of trying to see if this is going to work again, and us saying, okay, we're going to try it out. We come out of his house, and I go to my car because we was about to go back to my house and, get in one car. And y'all, I looked at my door, on the window of my door, and there's a frog. Not the toad, the frog. With the little circle on their fingers, like a real frog. The one that I've seen my whole life on Nat Geo, like that type of frog. The example of a frog, in which I never realized that what was at by my house was toads and not frogs. I never put it together. I never did to that day. And I screamed, not because I'm scared of it, but I screamed because I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, I get it. I got it. And ever since then, I have been like, nope, I don't hear you. Like, I'm going for what I asked for, and I'm here with him. Like, the connection that I've had with God since then, or Jesus since then, like, with the Savior since then, it's been totally different. Totally different. Like, I don't believe I don't believe I'll be misled in no way. Like, and before I was never sure. And I'm not gonna lie, beforehand I was new age technically, if you really put it together. But after all that, fast forward, here we are at the end of the year, and I got this one. I'm not putting it back on because I'm about to prepare some chicken and stuff for the night. But now I got a new baby. He proposed again this Sunday. This Sunday passed, and gave me a new ring. That was my Christmas gift. And that time I actually shed a tear. And which ring was bigger? Honestly, the first two was the same exact ring. But this ring is a little bit smaller. Just a little tiny bit smaller. I can sense it a little bit. But I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that at all. They all the same ring though. All the same cut. It's my ring. Because when he pulled it, I said, oh, my ring. Like, in my head. I ain't say it out loud. But I'm like, my ring. Like, and I ain't gonna lie, lately I ain't said nothing about wanting a ring again. But all of a sudden my fingers started feeling lonely. At first it was just like, well, I mean, we're taking it slow. We'll get back there. But this time, like, and it's not just because of the holidays, because it happened before the holidays. And the first time I realized, like, oh, wait, I used to go like this with my finger, and I'm like, oh, it's not there. You know, but I didn't mention it to him that I wanted my ring back. I just told him that I wanted us to do it right this time. Like, I want to have an actual relationship. I don't feel like I ever really had a relationship, not only with God, but with God involved, like leading it the right way. I've never had a real relationship. It's always been a worldly relationship where it was most likely led by the flesh. Lust. It was most likely greed. It was most likely everything else but the fact that it was genuine love. Like, it was genuine. Like, and this time I'm like, I'm ready. Like, and he actually was like, well, what changed? Me. What changed? Before, you never even said nothing about marriage and anything like that. Like, y'all, when I first got engaged, when he first proposed to me, I never even made a Pinterest. I never pinned anything for our wedding, nothing. Never did. And it was a whole year. Nothing. I didn't put nothing together because of the relationship that we had at the time. It just was not, it wasn't it. We stayed together. That was the longest relationship I ever had. But it still wasn't it. And I felt that. And one day my best friend, he was just like, okay, so where you at with planning? It's about a year, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it is a year. And what did I say? If he ain't got his ish together by a year, I'm done. Like, that's how, and I'm not saying my best friend was evil or nothing like that, but that's how the devil takes over your brain. Because she wasn't meaning it that way. But those words, the way that I picked certain parts of that word and manipulate, well, the devil manipulated that in my head. I went straight to, you know what? Now I just started looking for anything wrong to just whatever. And that one last day, he was like, made that ultimatum, whatever little threat of us not being together because of that. I took that and ran with it. I did it. So I thank y'all. I'm about to go ahead and get to work for the day. I decided I'm trying to go live every day. I did miss the whole weekend. I ain't gonna lie, because I didn't realize Christmas Eve and Christmas Day was gonna be so hectic for me. I try to be ahead of everything. All my gifts was ordered in here a week or two ago. But life be lifing, and I never got a chance to put anything together and put everything where it needed to be. But anyway, thank y'all for watching. Again, happy birthday. I thank you for the love, the support, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.